Hello everybody, this is Ciprian Borodescu. I'm co-founder and CEO at MorphL, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to our second webinar, Using AI to Predict User Search Intent for Your SEO or PPC Campaigns. Now, for those of you who don't know, MorphL is a platform that uses AI to predict user behaviors in digital products and services with the end goal of increasing product metrics and business KPIs. Today, I'm here with Alexandra Angel, CTO at MorphL. Thank you so much for being here, and I know that you have a lot of things to tell us, so I suggest we dive right in.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to talk about our user search intent model and some use cases where it can be applied. I'm not going to go into very much technical details, and I'm trying to keep the information as practical as possible. Our challenge was to predict user search intent for millions of English search queries. Naturally, a user search intent is tied to the user's activity in the search engine and the links that they click, and their activity on the target website, but we didn't have access to that kind of data. Our goal was to extract insights as rich and as actionable as possible from the queries themselves. If someone searches iPhone 8, what do they want to do? Are they looking for product recommendations, specifications, reviews? Do they want to see some pictures? The fact is that we don't know for sure, but we can make an assumption based on several intent categories. For this use case, we decided to split user search intent into three categories, with the fourth consideration being added at a later stage. These types of intent correspond to the layers in the marketing funnel. And we have informational or awareness, which is related to finding information about a topic. We have navigational queries, which are also called visit in person, and are related to finding a place nearby or other types of local information. For transactional queries, these are related to accomplishing a goal or engaging in an activity. And finally, consideration queries are in between informational and transactional intent. What's challenging is that the intent behind these queries is not always clear, and inherently some of them will have a multi-intent. For example, if someone searches for the word hotels, the intent depends on the context. If they're using their mobile device, the intent can be navigational, which is finding a hotel nearby, or related to a consideration intent, which is making an online reservation. It could also be a transactional intent, although this generic search suggests that the user might not be ready yet to make a booking. Of course, if we are talking about small data volumes, where we have a few hundred queries, we can manually label them or use a dictionary search. For example, if a query contains the word buy, we can say that it's a transactional query. But this approach doesn't work for tens of thousands of queries, not to mention millions, which is the data that we had available. This is where machine learning can help, with attaching intent to large volumes of queries when we don't have an exact match for a known word. For example, a query that contains a variation of the word buy or a word that's close to it, such as price or purchase, will still be labeled as transactional. Now, I'm going to show you how you can use this model on your own queries. I have here a CSV file with the English queries, and please keep in mind that if you're exporting the queries from Google Search Console or Google Ads, you'll have to clean up the exported file and keep only the queries with one query per row like you see here. Next, you can upload the CSV file in the form located on our user search intent demo page. It will take a few minutes for the model to generate predictions, and after they are ready, you'll receive an email with the predictions as an attached CSV file. The email also contains a link to a complementary Google Sheet that you can use for analyzing the predictions. You'll have to download both the complementary Google Sheet and the CSV file with the predictions and upload them to a Google Drive folder like you see here. The CSV file also needs to be converted into a Google Sheet. Once they are uploaded on Google Drive, you can import the CSV file with the predicted user search intent in the raw predictions tab from the complementary Google Sheet. You'll receive a notification for allowing access, and after you confirm, the queries will be imported in the raw predictions tab. As an alternative, you can also copy and paste the queries with the predictions in the same tab. Next, you can use the Predictions Filters tab to extract queries that have a certain confidence score. For example, in this case, we are filtering queries with a probability higher than 75% of being transactional. And finally, in the Filter Predictions tab, we have the queries that were filtered. Going back to the predictions filters, we can apply the same process for filtering navigational queries with an 80% confidence score. So we can change the score to 0.8 for navigational and set transactional to 0. Since queries are multi-intent, we are not limited to filter one intent category at a time. We have the possibility of setting the filters to 0.5 for all intent categories. And in this way, we can filter queries with multi-intent. Going back to our navigational example, if you go to the Filter Predictions tab, you'll see the navigational queries.
Okay, so now we have the predictions, and we can also filter those predictions and extract a subset of queries that are transactional or informational and so on. But what's the end goal as a SEO or PPC specialist? How can I use this in real life?
There are very practical examples of how intent categories can be used in real life. You can segment ad campaigns based on user intent and improve your click-through rate and ROI for them. You can personalize landing pages for users based on the ad campaign that drives them to the page, or create specific types of content that address distinct user intent to increase conversion rates. And more, you can modify or update a page or a resource to attract qualified traffic instead of visitors that don't convert because they're not ready to commit.
Excellent.
To give you a specific example, one of our customers, an ad tech company, has used our intent predictions to personalize the ad copy depending on the intent category. And this led to a 7% increase in their click-through rate and a 28% increase for their ROI.
Awesome. Now, Alexandra, can you tell us a little bit about the limitations of this user search intent model?
One of the limitations is that the model works with only one language at a time. And right now we can generate predictions for English queries, but we are experimenting with other languages such as Spanish, French, German, and Italian. So if any of you listening out there are interested in a specific language and have a big data set to work with, please reach out to me or Ciprian.
All right, this was super interesting and practical. Thank you for taking the time to explain how the user search intent model works.
Thank you for having me, and looking forward to hear your thoughts on the predictions we're generating for your queries. And I'm more than happy to hear any suggestions or feedback you might have.
Thank you all for watching, and be sure to follow this webinar series. We're going to post a new webinar every month. The next one is scheduled for July 24th. So stay tuned for the next videos and make sure to subscribe or leave a comment if you have any questions. See you next time.